Alright, dudes. Milan Epics. Straight off the bat. Donadoni's new. Have you ever had Donadoni before? Anyway, first thing I noticed, prolific winger, right? Good thing is he can play AMF. Why? Because straight off the bat, a winger who isn't too fast with low balance could be a problem. But since he can play AMF, and since he's go through passing and one-touch passing, could be a decent AMF. But obviously he will not have playing style. So if the playing style is not active, pretty much his playing style will be based on your team's playing style. Like if you're playing quick counter, he'll be more direct. If you play position, he will come short for passing and so on. So yeah, when you max him out, I think I've seen different type of training. If you use him on the wing, he does have pinpoint crossing. Could be a decent winger as well. Weak foot is regularly. That's good. I think in terms of skill, now that we can apply skills, depending whether you use him on the wing or as an AMF. If you're going to use him as on the wing, may as well give him pinpoint crossing. He has that. Good. I think could be a very decent versatile player, but he's not going to be your offensive AMF. You know, he doesn't have a lot of finishing skills. He doesn't have first time finishing. He doesn't have acrobatic finishing. But that's if I view it based on meta, I would say yeah, acrobatic finishing, first time finishing. He's a winger, dude. I mean winger. I know we can implement real life into a virtual game, but if this game didn't look like real life, you wouldn't play it. You might as well play Candy Crush. Icebreaking Fukadik. His name is Fukadik, man. Not my fault. So in my opinion, you shouldn't go like if you get Maldini, rest unless you have Pirlo. We're gonna get back to Pirlo as well. For me, if I get Maldini, I'm not going to bother with Pirlo or him. Because that 68 balance, I mean, how much acceleration, how much dexterity are you going to give him to even make his balance like 85? So, and you don't want to make him too slow because I know how much I did not like Kingsley Coman. Problem with Kingsley Coman, he was just fast. Not a good passer, not a good finisher, just... And when consistently a tired Van Dijk catching Kingsley Coman, even though I'm a couple meters ahead. I mean, I know this is not FIFA. Speed doesn't play a major factor. But it is ridiculous when Van Dijk catching a fresh leg Kingsley Coman. After Van Dijk is tired. Standard card, no fighting spirit either. So you can't even tell me fighting spirit. And I'm running with super cancel, 2 meters ahead. But anyway. Next, if you talk about Pirlo. Now, I'm going to show you the gold Pirlo I had. They made this Pirlo too OP, bro. Now, what stands out about this Pirlo? Speed acceleration 80. Balance 94. Dribbling 90. Running with the ball. Tight position. It's important for DMF. Agility, turns. And obviously it is Pirlo. And I see no point to train Pirlo defensively unless you're going to give him blocker interception skill. And obviously his offensive awareness is not that high. This one does not play AMF. I need to check if the Milan one does. So for me, if I get the Milan Pirlo, it will only be an upgrade because I play different tactics and the Milan Pirlo has more tactical proficiencies, which just saves me point to train him. Beyond that, or you can keep both because now with Milan, you know, events are back into trend, and I used to always play events no matter what, even for GP. Now events give you skill trainer. I think you're gonna need variations of cards, really. And I have regrets, man. I've released about 20 epics and 10 big times. It's because of the struggle of GP. Because for me, there was certain skills can make certain players very effective. So I needed GP to use the legacy transfer method to train my players. Now this Pirlo does not play AMF either. Exactly age 27, exact same player model. Is it the same year? AC Milan, 6 and 7? Not that one? Italy 2007. I'm not a doctor or anything, but shouldn't be a year younger or older. Anyway. So it seems like with this Pirlo, the gold one is decent, man. If you have the gold one, you shouldn't go beyond your weight trying to get the Milan one. Because there isn't distinctive different. In terms of skill, this Pirlo has soul control, and the other, there's one skill difference. This one has soul control, and the other one has, let me check again. There's one skill difference. Like it's not a major thing, especially now you can give them different skill trainers. So, in my opinion, the gold one can be faster. Easily can be faster. This one probably can be a higher acceleration, possibly, by the looks of it. But the gold one is definitely faster. And since he cannot play AMF, yeah. The gold one has double touch as well, dude. I'll check it in a second. I'm pretty sure the gold one has double touch too. This one has soul control, and the gold one has one skill different. Just a single skill. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. Wait, that means there is two skills different. This one doesn't have double touch or soul control. Wait a minute. Does that mean can you imagine doing Neymar ball rule? Do you know what? We can't call it Neymar ball rule anymore, you know? It has a name on eFootball now. It's called special double touch. But it always been Neymar ball rule before. Because Neymar was the only player who can do that skill. And if you're a PES player, you know, you always called it Neymar ball rule. That changes things. I mean, you usually wouldn't want to do fancy stuff with your DMF, but in Pirlo's case, it's different, really. He's not going to be your anchor man or your destroyer, in a way. So certain skills may help big time. Because a lot of times your DMF making that late run in the box and a slight dribble, slight technique can change the game. So that means there's two skills different. This one has double touch sword control. All you have to do is just give him flip flap. You give him flip flap, then you know the combination between double touch sword control, flip flap. That means he can do this skill right here. For those of you who don't know, this is a normal double touch. Just double touch. Any player who has double touch can execute that smoothly. If he doesn't have it, he can still do it, but not as smoothly. But if a player has double touch, flip flap, and soul control, then he can do the Neymar ball rule. Now, Neymar can do it regardless if he has all three. I don't think Neymar has all these three skills, but he can do it anyway. In case for those of you are not familiar. So when it comes to training, man, it all depends. If you're a meta player, you would train him very differently. If you like position, you train him differently. If you like long ball counter, you would train him differently. But you can never go wrong with Pirlo. Like, I don't think you should give him more than 90 passing, right? Doesn't need that. He's got all the passing skills. Maybe have your own version of Pirlo. Make him a little bit, give him more acceleration, give him better dribbling, for example. But in my opinion, he is effective, man. A lot of time I play 4-4-2 with CMF on the flank, and I use Pirlo there because I was so disappointed with Beckham. And the one and only in Maldini, best defender in the world. Nobody can replace him. Just don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. Now, aerial superiority, slide and tackle, blocker, interception, man marking. One thing is missing. Acrobatic clearance. Unpopular opinion. I personally prefer human skills. What I mean by that, like if I give a player double touch, I'm the one taking advantage of that skill. But aerial superiority, a lot of times, it doesn't mean that you will win every aerial ball 100%. It just makes the player to win it more often. Like I gave aerial superiority to Cannavaro. He's just short, dude. I've not seen a distinctive difference. But beyond that, when it comes to Maldini, I cannot... Personally, I don't like the fact he's a destroyer. Because all my other legends, Maldini, Cannavaro, Nesta are destroyers. And ideally, you don't want to use two main destroyers. You don't want two defender destroyers, usually. Most of the time, I use it, I don't care. If the game is against you, it'll be against you. But for me, I wish he was a defensive fullback because we thought he was a defensive fullback. Now, I'm not saying train him like real life. You cannot play real life football into a virtual football. And I would never even say, oh, it happens in real life too, even occasionally. So, if you train him for meta, yeah, probably make all his defensive work 90. Possibly make his physical contact close to 85. For meta, you probably wouldn't give him any passing, maybe a little bit of ball control, and so on. But if you train him that way for meta, that means when it comes to meta, you don't receive the ball with your defenders. You just intercept, clear, intercept, clear. Any defender that lacks ball control and tight position, you don't want to take a touch and do anything else with him in a way, in my opinion. So for me, players like that, I use him in a center back and as a left back. So probably I'll train him in a hybrid way. Problem is, you can't make him an offensive fullback. Like you can't use him as a fullback, let him overlap. Because offensive awareness is a bit low. And also he's a big guy. And number two, you have to give him more dribbling. And his dribbling is 65. If you give him like 8 points, he's still not going to be good enough to run on the flank with the ball. So he's not going to be good running with the ball. So in my opinion, if you have another main center back who's a destroyer, maybe train him to be a defensive fullback. Of course, I mean, quick way if I would train him, definitely defensive awareness minimum 90, and the rest of it will go high. If I play quick counter, I'll make his speed minimum 78. 80, I would say. If I play quick counter. If I play long ball counter, I don't need that much speed or acceleration, but physically stronger. So for me, if I was to train him as a left back, I was going to say give him a little bit of a passing, but he's already got pinpoint crossing, doesn't he? Yes, he doesn't have one-touch passing. So probably give him a couple of points on passing. This is just a personal thing. I like Maldini. I'll probably give him more ball control. But beyond that, you can't go wrong, man. As long as you understand player ability combined with skill, and you should train him differently if you're going to use him as a left back or if you're going to use him as a center back mainly. If you're going to use him with long ball counter, quick counter, it should all be slight different things. It matters. If you play position, you definitely need to give him more passing. But beyond that, you honestly can't go wrong with Maldini. I had Gold One, who was an offensive fullback. Wasn't technically, he didn't have the technique to be an offensive fullback because dribbling, running with the ball wasn't that great. So I would always use him as a left back with defense on him. But most of the time when my fullbacks overlap, he's not going to be the type of fullback I would use. Probably use a proper offensive fullback. So, what's your opinion? eFootball heads, and you guys on YouTube. Comment down below.